Now, I'm not willing to say it's coming home, okay? But it's not coming home, is it? Do you know what I mean? Every time we go out there, big dubs, a cheeky 4-0 win against Shevchenko's Ukraine. By the way, Shevchenko managing the Ukraine. What a beautiful thing that is. I mean, I'm so happy we're at a stage in life now where the players who were the very best in the world when I was a kid are now managing teams. You know, you got Shevchenko, you got your Patrick Vieiras. These boys are just out there doing bits, and it makes me very happy. It makes me happier than I should be. Do you know who else is coming home? Felipe Anderson. He's back. He's been in training after his unsuccessful year-long spell with Porto. And do you know who else is going out the door? It's probably Felipe Anderson, straight back out. Straight back out. I've got some opinions on this. I'm going to share them with you, and I'm really interested to hear yours because, I mean, look, it's multifaceted, this issue, okay? It's divisive, it's divisive, however you want to pronounce it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Felipe Anderson has agreed personal terms on a 4-year deal with Lazio. That's the headline, right? But before we get into the details of the situation, patreon.com/Hammers chat, link in the description below. I need to shout it out, or Gio Gonzo will behead me like Henry VIII. There's whole series over there that if you're not on the Patreon, you don't see. Gio does this tactical breakdown of all of our oppositions before we do it and tells you like who's going to play and how they're going to play in their system and everything else. And because I'm an idiot and I don't actually have anything in my brain, I use that to sound smart. So if you've ever watched the watch along, go, Charlie seems like he knows what he's talking about. That's why. And if it's not, if you've never heard me say that, it's because I'm an aforementioned idiot. There's other things over there, whole new series, whole new things, podcasts. Listen, I do stuff on there occasionally. That's not really a selling point. If you'd rather listen to the shows as opposed to watch them, say you want to listen to them while you're out there on the tractor, ploughing the fields, doing a good, honest, hard day's work, they're on there, provided by the wonderful Rebecca. Go check it out. Patreon.com/Hammers chat. Link in the description below. Right, here's the finer details. Here's the final details. Now I've got the thing out of the way that won't get me killed. The Brazilian wants to return to the Italian club, and they are now in advanced talks with West Ham to finalise the deal. Anderson is set to rejoin Lazio on a free transfer. What? Free? And West Ham have included a 50% sell-on clause in the deal. This is by far one of the stupidest things I have ever heard. This is so dumb. This is unbelievably. If you've ever needed further proof at how bad we are at transfers, this is it. Right here. This is it. This is so dumb. It's shockingly dumb. Free. What? We bought this guy for what? There's lots of figures out there. Let's say 35 mil for sake of argument. 35 mil, what, 3 years ago? Or our record signing at the time, in the prime of his career. And he's depreciated so much that we're giving him away for free. Just imagine being that bad at business. Just for a second, imagine being that exquisitely terrible at running a football club, right? Like, let's be fair about it. Let's talk about Anderson in full context, right? He's had a poor 18 months, if we're being kind about it. Okay, the time at Porto went incredibly terribly. Now, yet another terrible transfer, by the way. Why would you loan him to a club where the manager actively doesn't want him? 2 + 2 = 4. You don't need to know that in the exam. You know that before the maths exam, right? So if you're loaning him out and then it turns out the manager doesn't want him, maybe you should do your due diligence on your loans, bruv. It's not complex. It's not difficult. Do you want him? You ask the manager, and the manager goes, nah. And you go, fair enough, mate. We'll loan him somewhere else. So he had a terrible time at Porto. He had a manager who didn't want him. Obviously, he didn't play, right? Then, second season, we will all say was nowhere near as good as his first. We'll happily say that. We'll happily say that. Now, I made a video a couple of months back going through the numbers, going through the figures. Actually, I would make the argument that he still did well that season. He was still producing good numbers despite the rest of the team around him falling apart. He was obviously part of that. He wasn't a shining light in a terrible team or anything, but his numbers were still very good. And I thought you could make a case actually for someone who David Moyes might be able to use. Let's be real about this here. We don't have the squad depth. We don't have the money to where we can really replace someone like Felipe Anderson if they can still be useful. So I felt, here's a guy who has ability. When he's on his day, he's unbeatable. let's give him a chance. Let's see what David Moyes can do with him. I would love to see what David Moyes could do with Felipe Anderson. And yet, listen, David Moyes has clearly decided he wants Felipe Anderson out. That's fair. That's entirely fair. I don't know what he's seeing that I'm not, but fair enough. He's the manager. He makes the decisions. If you have someone on wages that Felipe Anderson is on, he's one of the highest earners at the club, and the manager doesn't want him, can't use him, then he should be moved on. For free, though. For free. To one of the only clubs who, like, would be super interested in him. Like, Felipe Anderson, when he was at Lazio, killed it, right? He was never a first 11 player, but he was known as the 12th man because he would always come on and he would be the first person on that team sheet if the starting 11 weren't fully available for whatever reason, you know? I saw him play left wing back in one game. I mean, this is the guy who they were into it, right? And we've seen that club and they've gone, we'll take him on a free. Now, the only way this deal could be worse is if they didn't have that 50% sell-on clause, right? And let's be real, 50% is high. I don't tend to see a number that high usually. On top of that, it's on 0%. It's on zero. Sorry, it's on a £0. So anything they sell, we get 50% off. That's great. But guess what? That's future money. That's make-believe money. That could be anything. That could be monopoly money. That means nothing. It means nothing. We need money now. How are you going to replace Felipe Anderson in his squad with £0? We already have a squad that has less depth than we had at the end of the season. Jesse Lingard is no longer here. He's gone, right? Felipe Anderson going for a free is not going to help Jesse Lingard coming in. Balbuena's gone. So we've got less people in this squad than we had before. And yet we are letting go a potential asset for nothing. This is stupid. This is monumentally stupid. I can't get my head around it whatsoever. I understand, again, if David Moyes says, look, I really don't see a place for him in the squad, you move him on, right? But even 5 million, right, is better than nothing and 50% of maybe something in 3 to 4 years' time. He's signing a 4-year deal with Lazio, right? He's not going to move for a while. Let's say they sell him next summer, right? Somehow for £15 million. That's still £7.5 million. You're telling me we couldn't use that £7.5 million now when we have more games next season because of Europe, when we have less people in the squad, so we need the depth. And look, £7.5 million isn't going to be able to replace Felipe Anderson even. I can't talk, apparently. I apologise. £7.5 million is not going to be able to replace him, right? But every little helps. That £7.5 million could be the difference between getting your first choice winger option and getting your fourth choice. You know what I mean? It's fine margins and it all adds up. So you're telling me zero, nothing. That is mad. That is wild. No, I can't lie. It's very late at night. The news is just broken for me. This is going up tomorrow. So hello, good morning. Hope you had your breakfast and everything else. So it's fresh on my mind. And maybe when I wake up, maybe when I had some sleep, I'll think this through differently. How do you feel about this? I'm interested because, look, it's obvious a lot of people would like Felipe Anderson to go. I'm not one of them, obviously. But even this deal feels stupid from that perspective. But I don't have it, so I would like to know yours. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Remember, patreon.com/chat. It's a thing you should check out. Link in the description below. Hey, like the video if you've enjoyed it somehow. I apologise. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back probably this evening with a preview for the England match. That'll be Gio and Gonzo doing their thing. But until then, enjoy yourselves. Have a good day. Bye.